535 yesterday, right? We did 534's lesson, but your homework was 535 because you should be able to do it. If there are any problems that you can't do, that's when you want to ask about them, right? So tonight's homework is closure, but that's in preparation for our Jenga game. So, or no, you already have 534. Kylie, you kept 534 yesterday, didn't you? Yeah, this is just me being confused. So really, I can just take that back and get it back to you later. All right, so 534. Remember, just answers. We're going to get you a quick check minus. If you do not have it done right now, you should come to math lunch today. Because that's holding yourself accountable. To say if I didn't do what I needed to do last night, I have to take extra time today to do it. So if it's not done, if you did not take the time to do it on your own, I will see you at math lunch today. Lucas?
Can we go over
141E. Layla, was that what you had asked about?
Yeah.
There you go. I told you it might be a popular question.
That one.
So the one thing that might have been a little goofy there was because remember, I make these homeworks, like I copy paste stuff out. The 3 in the denominator got slightly chopped off. So this is negative 2/3 at the beginning. So remember, we're going to follow PEMDAS, right? We're going to follow the order of operations. But parentheses is kind of a tricky one. If you don't have this problem done, do it right now with me. So I should see pencils out. We're not copying the answer. We're doing the problem. Antonella, you need a second to find this homework? You got it or what? It's got the shapes on the bottom of it. It's got these. It's that homework. So 534 is what we're looking at. Thank you, Miss Martin. So this parentheses doesn't have anything to do. Do we have any exponents? No. So now we do the multiplication and division step. Like we're working it left to right. So negative 2/3 times 6. Guys, what you want to do is turn your 6 into a fraction. Hey, John, go ahead and put that away because the noise is just distracting to me. So I'm sure I'm not the only one. I'm not joking. Like, I just can't. Like, my brain pings around all over the place. So this, there's a small chance she might need a copy of it. Crap. So I should probably give these to you, Miss. So that goes back with, actually, Miss Martin here, if you want to hand these back, it might be in here. I definitely have her 531. I'm not sure about it. There's one of those spots where it could be. You found it? So, thank you, actually. Antonella, I really appreciate you having this like moment of whatever we want to call it, because I need to make this announcement. Please do not turn your homework in early for exactly this reason right here, right now. So if you turned in 534 yesterday or any day before that, you didn't check your answers. So do not turn in homework early. Wait till we technically collect it in class. Turn it in that day after we check your homework. Any questions about that? All right. So for E, we're going to make the 6 into a fraction because any number can become a fraction. So now multiply across the top, multiply across the bottom. And I like to take my negative in the numerator. So that becomes negative 12 over 3. Any questions on how I got negative 12 over 3 from those first two numbers? Now we need to do the 15 divided by negative 3. And I can think of it as like 15 over negative 3, right, kind of in fraction form. That's going to come out to be negative 5. Any questions on that? So then, negative 12 over 3 is really a negative 4 plus a negative 5. I believe our answer should be negative 9. But we check with the answer key because I'm a human and I make mistakes. So we come to class, check the answer key, and we say, sweet. Although it looks like a C. I don't know why the answer key looks like it has C twice, but yeah. This is -9 for E. So check your answers for 141. I don't know that any of those are able to be solved without work. Even B. Guys, like even B, which doesn't have a whole lot to do, this becomes -3. This becomes -4. I need to write these things out so I know what I'm doing. We can't just try to keep things in our head. And then that's multiplication. So that's how we get to, I believe, +12. Yeah. Kylie.
I was confused on 141F.
F. Ah, this one has an exponent. So, in F, parentheses first, what's 7 minus 2? 5. If you haven't done this, you should be doing it now. Now, some of you will start to get in the habit. Hey, Antonella, make sure, like, we're doing this up here right now. I don't know what you and Aiden are talking about, but I would probably be looking here, right? Because otherwise it looks like you're copying his homework. So 7 minus 2 is 5. Then exponents is the next step. Some of you will realize you could go ahead and do this, but guys, that's asking to make a mistake. So keep it in order. 5 squared, what's 5 squared? 25, because it's 5 times 5. Minus 5 divided by 5. Following PEMDAS, right, multiply and divide is next. So this is kind of the trap door, is that this does not get subtracted yet. We got to do the division. And that becomes 1. So that is how we get to 24. Questions on F. Why this worked like this. Vanessa. Can I press you to tell me what your first step was? Absolutely, because here this multiplication would happen first. What is 2 times 8? Anybody? 16. Then when we're adding and subtracting, we're working left to right. So guys, one way that I help myself remember this is when I write down PEMDAS. Sorry, looking for a Post-it. Guys, when I write down PEMDAS, and this is the only way I've written it all year, I don't always put this arrow here, but parentheses, exponents, they are their own steps. Then multiply, divide is left to right. Add, subtract, left to right. They happen at the same time. So I need to do -5 plus 16 first. That gets me +11. Minus 12 gets to -1. Does that make sense now? I think that's the answer at least. Yep, -1. Antonella? B. Like from 141?
Yeah.
So this is why I just bugged you when you were talking to Aiden. We already did B.
No.
C as in cat?
D.
D?
Yeah.
Ah, D as in dog.
Yeah.
I hate masks. I love them for the fact that we are in school. I hate that I cannot hear you guys. What step would be first here? Parentheses. So check, did you do 4 plus 10 first? And guys, your work should look very similar to mine. Notice on none of mine do I just write down the answer. That would be silly and it would probably be wrong. Then this is all multiplication. So we work it left to right. Guys, some of you are forgetting that in between parentheses, that's multiplication. So what's half of -6? Did you find your mistake now? Guys, that is why we check answers. That moment of, oh, if you are sitting here, like zoned out, not paying attention, like you're just wasting your time. You might as well just go to the bathroom. Seriously. Lucas?
Can we do 142?
So then for D, we would just do this final multiplication to get our end answer.
Yeah, I
Can we do, sorry, you good, Antonella?
Yeah.
Okay, Lucas, sorry, what'd you ask for?
142.
So if you do not answer what the scale factor is or show it somehow, you'll get a check minus. It's one of the questions you're asked to answer. So this is interesting, and actually it tripped up my Math 8 kids too, because I gave them the same question. Because Math 7 and Math 8 is not that different. So the 22 goes to the 33, and that's really the only corresponding set that I have, because all of the other ones have a variable. If I compare 33 to 22, what's that fraction reduced to? 3 over 2, or the decimal 1.5. So your scale factor, you could say it's 3 over 2, or you could say it's 1.5. So if we're going this direction, we're multiplying by 1.5. But what if, like at the bottom, we're going the opposite direction? How could I still use my 1.5? Divide. Because multiplication and division are reciprocal operations.
Can you explain 139?
So guys, I'm not going to give you the answers for X, Y, and Z here, because you need to be able to calculate them using that scale factor. So sorry, which one?
139.
Another gas problem, but not the one about like after you eat chicken wings. Oh, Taco Bell. Love me some Taco Bell. All right, so miles and gallons. You don't have to put miles on top, but I like putting the bigger number on top. But remember, we build however we want to build, right? You can put whatever you want on top and bottom. The thing is, then you have to keep it the same, right? So now that I put miles on top, miles is going to stay on top. How far could I travel in 12 gallons? And guys, your work should look pretty much exactly like mine. How do I go from 4 gallons to 12 gallons? A giant 1 of 3, right? Funny way to say that. But yeah, times 3 on top and on bottom. So probably calculator 450 plus 18, 468. And then what about 6 gallons? Yeah, now we can divide by 2. So 234. This number actually divides by 2 really nicely because they're all even numbers. Make sure that we have labels with that.
Thank you.
We could have used a diagram, but does it say I have to draw a diagram? No, just says show your work. Guys, explain your thinking does not mean you have to write it out with words. Drawing the arrow showing the times 3, drawing the arrow showing divide by 2, like that's explaining your thinking. This shows me what you did. Other questions? Because guys, today it's not a work day, but we are going to be practicing our skills in our group, and you're going to have the opportunity to make a poster if you want, because I know some of you are artistic. That will help you guys and your classmates and future Phoenix people, because now that we're in our new classrooms, I can probably keep posters year to year. So I'm happy to do any other problems on here. Mia, that looks like half a hand.
138B.
138? Is this the back page?
Yeah, that's the one.
I'm crazy. I just flipped up my binder and it happened to be at the right homework. All right, 138. Oh, yeah, because the front of this, remember, the front of yours should look like mine does. We wrote this stuff down yesterday. If you didn't, that was a poor choice. So this whole problem is talking about complementary situations. Who remembers what a complement of something is? Not like your hair looks pretty today, but John?
Was it like a part of?
Kind of, it's the rest of it, right? So a complement is the rest of what we're trying to make. So If there are 100 students in a room and 40 are boys, how many would be girls? The rest of them, right? Which would be 60. If there are 17 blue and white, so that's our total stripes on a flag, 9 of them are blue. How many are white? The rest of them, which would be... If there are 250 pennies and dimes, that's our total. In a box and 130 are pennies, how many are dimes? The rest of them, 120. Now it's time to generalize. How did we do what we did above? What operation have we been using, Vincent?
I was gonna answer that. You forgot your labels.
I love it. I was wondering if anyone was gonna like bother me about that. Girls, white, and dimes. So then Layla, we'll pop over to you for D. We've been using subtraction. So if you want to write it out, your total minus your part equals the rest. Or really, you could call it the complement. All right, at this point, we've done almost all of your homework together. So we should probably come to math lunch if we need more help than that. So go ahead and put that. If it's ready to turn in, put it in my bin. If it's not ready to turn in, I should see you at math lunch. Yes. So that number is what? So when we do -5 times x, what we're going to write is -5x. So you're right. Yep. All right. So you guys know how good I am with secrets, right? Yeah, like I'm planning a secret bachelor party for my friend, and I've asked him about every detail along the way. He would like to go to Kentucky and play disc golf. So that is what we were doing, because we're all old. So party is kind of used loosely these days. So the secret for tonight's homework / tomorrow's class is tomorrow we'll be playing Jenga. The questions will be from the closure and any other Chapter 5 homeworks that you've had. So doing the closure tonight will give you an advantage tomorrow when you're working with your team to try to solve those problems. So that's why tonight's homework is closure, is if you do like at least most of it tonight, you'll probably know most of the problems that'll be on the Jenga tomorrow. But that's a secret. And, why would I tell you that ahead of time? That would give you, like, an advantage. So, when we are problem solving, one of the things that we've been practicing is turning the verbal situation into a numerical. So we're going to practice one of these together. Then I'm going to let your groups come up and pick a letter, which will determine what problem I give you. And then you take it back to your desk, and on your graph paper, try to write out everything you need, and then you can use the 5D process to solve it. You can use algebra to solve it. You can use calculators. You can use anything, really. Highlighters would be a very good idea, as I'm going to show here in just a second. So this might gross out some of you, but I find this fascinating. So according to many sources, insects are the most diverse group of animals on the planet. The number of species is estimated between 6 and 10 million. Guys, that doesn't mean 10 million bugs. That means 10 million species of bugs. That's a little crazy. Now, as you get older, you start to realize, like, bugs are kind of everywhere. They're, like, inside the walls of your house. They're crawling around, like, all over the place. So insects are said to represent more than half of all known living organisms, and potentially over 90% of different life forms on Earth. So there are probably bugs we haven't even discovered yet. So now we've got some problems about bugs. So I don't like how small this is, and the picture beside it's cute, but I'm going to go here so it's bigger and I can highlight it, right? So go ahead and read this on your own, and then I'm going to start asking people what I should highlight. Right? Go ahead and read this on your own. Then I'm going to start asking what should we highlight. Some cool names. It's also a lot of miles. Holy cow. Aiden, John's right. That's a lot of words. Can you tell me one thing to highlight in one color?
Let's see. I will go with the desert locust migrate about 80 miles further than the Mothman by every spring.
Yeah, the desert locust migrates about 800 miles farther than the monarch butterfly every spring. Kylie, what variable might you give to the desert locust? D. Sure. It's a desert locust. Everyone on your paper, write down D. And might as well put equals. Miss Davis, what did they tell us about the desert locust? What could we write after our D equals? Not just 800 miles, but 800 miles. What's it say after? Farther than who? The monarch butterfly. So, Katie, how could we write that as an expression? 800 miles farther than the monarch. We got to pick a variable for the monarch first, right? Cards, John. Cards. So, Katie, what variable might you pick? M would work for the monarch butterfly. And then how do we show 800 miles farther? Would that be addition or multiplication? John?
That wasn't me.
Vincent?
Who's Vincent? They're from that area.
Get the duct tape.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Oh. Okay. Okay.
Gave us an idea.
I just stole this from Mrs. Goldring.
I'm an evil master, you know?
Hey, you should get your hands for that.
No, I'm joking. Yeah, that's a way to lose your job real fast. So then, alright, so you need D equals M plus 800. Isabella, what's the next thing that I could highlight? Where's Isabella hiding today? What else could I highlight? That's a lot of words.
Yeah.
Holy cow. Alright, so the pink spotted hawk moth. First off, that name sounds sweet. The pink spotted hawk moth migrates 200 miles less than 4 times the distance of the monarch butterfly. Isabella got lucky there because now I'm moving on to a new card. Marina, give me a variable. We'll go ahead and keep doing it this way. Sure, hawk moth, right? H. So, I'm going to say H. That's kind of hard to see. I'm going to write in red, even though it's our pink hawk moth. So the hawk moth is Isabella. Sorry, no, Jesus. I just saw Gonzalez and assumed. Jesus, if it's 800 miles, 200 miles less than, what's that less than going to do? Yeah, is it going to like add, subtract, multiply, divide? Subtract, right? But subtract from what? Right? So we're going to subtract 200, but from what? This graph, what would we be taking that away from? 4 times the... So how do we write that? Bro, the duct tape's really close now. For clarity, I have never duct taped a child ever. For clarity, I am. I duct taped a Pledge Brother to the wall once, but that's a whole different story. Actually, we also duct taped Mr. Sherg. You guys don't know Mr. Sherg, but the whole school won this like fundraising contest, and we duct taped Mr. Shirk to the wall and then threw pies at him. It was great. All right, back on topic. Laid end to end. Laid end to end, the distance traveled by the monarch butterfly, a desert locust, and the pink spotted hawk moth is 12,600. So that's saying the monarch, right? Well, we said M, and the desert locust, and the hawk moth. What? Anybody.
Equals 12,600.
See, John, that's where you're allowed to just shout out an answer. Now, Amanda, do we know, or are there any of those M, D, or H that we could replace? And you can always pass, you're fine. Eli, are there any of those that we could replace? I don't know what I'm doing now. So here's why we're doing the first one together, because this is the part that I've realized kids, like, it's a little hard to connect. So now I've got M plus D plus H. That doesn't do me any good because I've got 3 different variables. What I want to do is replace 2 of those variables with the expressions we just wrote that use the same variable. See how this expression uses M, this expression uses M, and the monarch butterfly already uses M. So where we have D, guys, please keep writing this on your graph paper so you've got an example to look at. Where we have D, we're going to replace it with what we said D equals. So we can write down M plus, but now where I had D, I'm going to write M plus 800. Where we had H, what are we going to write? 4M minus 200. Equals 12,600. I want you and your team to see if you can remember how to algebra your way to an answer here. I'm going to give you a couple minutes. And actually, once your team has an answer, bring it up here, and I'll give you your next one. Maybe? I don't know. I'm still figuring out how to tweak this. We've already used a lot of time. Actually, just hang out at your desk. In a couple minutes, we'll come back together. Because what we've done makes sense. Because it's totally fine to pass. I just want to make sure you understand why we wrote down this and why we wrote down this. So does that all make sense? Because that's what makes us there. And I'll give you papers for that.
Not yet. Not yet. You're on the right track. Oh, yeah. Okay, so yeah.
All right, we should probably bring this back together. What? I know you might not be done, but I want to make sure we're all on the same path. This is not a race, guys. I love that some of you are excited about this, but please be careful flexing because it makes people feel bad. Lucas, what could be a first step here with my very colorful expression? Or equation, actually.
Put the 800 and the negative 200 together to get 600.
I really appreciate having Miss Martin in here with me because I heard her telling people what do we call those numbers? They're not variables, so they have a specific name. Starts with a C. They're constants. Numbers that we know are constants.
Excuse this interruption, Phoenix. Can I please have Stephen Solis to the office? Stephen, please come to the main office. Thank you.
So that'd be 600, right? 800 and a negative 200. Any questions on me combining those constants? John did not skip your card. What else do I need to combine? The M's. We get 6 because there's really one M here, one M there, 4 M's there. We get 6M. Any questions on how I get to here? John? No, that's not a question. Any questions on how we get to here? You trying to move on quickly robs people of time to ask questions. So now, Antonella, can you remember what our next step would be? We kind of did it like over on the board, but I didn't write out all the details over there, so the whiteboard's not great. Do you remember what we did like yesterday or 2 days ago? What we did next? It's okay if you don't, because we haven't done much of this. Do you want to pass? Sure. Franco? Got an idea what we did next? So I can't hear you because of this thing. So this goes back to what John said of combine like terms. This is a variable, right? The M, it's a variable term. But these are both just numbers. They're constants. I want to get this 600 with my 12,600. But how do I do it? Because I can't just add them. They're on two different sides. We subtract. We use inverse operations. We do minus 600 on both sides. Then, what I now have is 6m equals 12,000. We're using inverse operations. It was adding, so we subtracted because now this like disappears, right? They cancel. So now, Vanessa, you got an idea on what we do next? This is multiplication, so we want to divide by 6. And m would equal 2,000. But we're not done yet. Because now that I know what m equals, can I figure out what D and H equal? You betcha. Kylie?
Yes, 8. You would just do 2,000 times 4 minus 200, which is 7,800.
So 4 times 2,000 is 8,000, right? Minus 200. So 7,800. Same thing for D equals, replace your M with 2,000. So D is 2,800. Questions? So now I've got problems like this for each of our groups. We're only going to do 2 different ones so we can share them tomorrow. So what I want you to do with the remainder of class is just as a group, look at it, start highlighting, and start writing down whatever we can. Now I'm going to give half of you guys. What about what? So this, as you work the question lesson, gives you so that if you want to write there, you can want about bees and wasps. Bees and wasps. Do you want bees and wasps or flies? What bugs do you want? Flies or bees? Bees? It really doesn't make much of a difference. Start highlighting and start writing down whatever we can. Would you like bees or flies? Bees? Sorry. Yeah, so we need a couple colors of highlighters or colored pens to underline. If you guys don't have any highlighters, I would grab a couple. Remember, they're up front. Look at Jesus just laughs. He's like, this is stupid. Isn't it wild? This is true. So this is now weird. If you didn't get closure yet, because I know some of us picked it up already, check your binder. If you did not get the closure yet, please raise your hand. I will come around and give it to you. So check your binder. Check your binder. So pull out your binder so I can see that you're then going to clip it in. It should say closure. Yeah, 5.cl. Yep, so you got it. 5.cl if you don't somehow. 5.cl. I just had them up front. People wanted to ground. I said, here's everything yours. You have to make sure. Like, put your eyes on it right now. Make sure you got it. Are you sure you got it? 5.cl. Do you have it yet? Check your binder. Oh, yours might also be on the packet. 5.cl, you got it. You have it? You have it? 5.cl is what Tom said. You have this yet? You have it? You have it? 5.cl, do you have it? Okay. You got it? You got it? No? You sure? 5.cl, we need it here. You have it already? 5.cl. Got it? Got it? 5.cl. You got it already? Okay, you're just kind of staring at it. We're getting there, right? Kylie, it's in here. I'll get this to you. I might even bring it to you next period because I have a planning period, so I'm going to do this right now. All right, one of your group members who you trust should either stick this in a pocket of their binder or my hole puncher's right over there. If you want to hole punch it so you can clip it in, one of your team members should keep this till tomorrow. And then, I don't even know where you're going, but head out to your next class. Global cultures, maybe? But it's in the family room, I think, today. Well, you're probably starting in Goldring's room. Kinda confusing. I'm very confused. right?
Yeah, I'm
Just
straight.
kidding. Greg is all messed up. And Terry and Amanda are walking, so
Oh my god.
I can only go in 2 feet because I have 2 days of Kevin.
Look at that problem.
Early.
Isn't it ridiculous?
Yes.
So that's gonna be like if anyone's really craving a challenge, I'll give that to them.
Yeah, that's a tricky one.
If John or somebody's like, I want more.
But it's got good information.
Oh yeah.
These
These things are fascinating.
Yeah, they are.
Seriously, thank you for your help. I definitely noticed it in 3B. I was like, crap, what I would give for a Rachel to be in my class right now.
Hey, it's alright.
You're
Just like to
awesome.
make sure they know the terminology because sometimes I'll be like, oh, like they might hear it, like with Kevin will definitely hear it.
Oh yeah.
They'll be like, what is this? Oh, you know. So making sure that they know these words so they for it.
Oh yeah.
So,
The more we can use it.
yes.
Oh man.
Alright, well have a good rest of your day.
You too.
Thank you.
I can't believe it's only Tuesday.